Hi, everyone, and welcome to Chair Yoga. Today we are going to do some uh, revisiting of the yamas. The yamas and the niyamas are part of the 8-limb path to yoga. And these are very important because, and what I like to bring up, it just seems very relevant to me, is because many of us think of yoga as the asana practice, the movement, the postures that we come into. That's kind of what people bring to mind when they talk about yoga. But actually, from a foundational level, they were third. The movement into the body came third in terms of its importance, or how the ancients, wise, you know, uh, tradition of this came about. Was started with getting your head in order, getting your behavior in order. And then how could we best do that? Well, it's got to be an embodiment practice. So it started with the yamas and the niyamas, which was all about being right-minded and to behave properly and take care of your own house, And then it moved into the asana, which is the movement and getting into the body. And third or fourth on the list was pranayama, the breath. So not what you might expect, I don't think, or it wasn't for me. But that was kind of the way it lined up, or came into reality in the traditional way. So ahimsa is the word for nonviolence, or most often used as do no harm. So I'm going to rely on the wisdom of the book that I think I mentioned to you, The Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele, well-worn book that I have used, just to cite a couple things. We think of something as major in terms of nonviolence as meaning, that we're not going to kill, that killing is obviously not uh, acceptable. But that's true. I'm not saying, I'm not challenging that, but that's kind of on this major gross level where we could think, well, I can avoid that, but what about a little more subtlety in that? So let me pick up something from that. Living the life that cries to be lived from the depth of our being frees up a lot of energy and vitality. The juices flow. Oops, I got into the wrong spot. Ahimsa, or nonviolence, literally to do no harm, calls forth from us our most brilliant and best self. Our capacity to be nonviolent depends on our proactive practice of courage, balance, love of self, and compassion for others. So that's the statement I really zeroed in on. Our capacity, because I've been kind of focused on, I've got it on my whiteboard here, to develop the capacity to live a life of unconditional positive regard. That's kind of still my, this goal of mine, is to embrace that. So you have to have a capacity to do that. So literally, to do no harm calls forth from us our most brilliant and best self. Our capacity to be nonviolent depends on our proactive practice of courage, balance, love of self, and compassion for others. So let's just hold that out as being kind of this generalization about what ahimsa means to us in daily life, and not just daily yoga practice, but in daily life. So let's begin with our transition. So before I come to the chair, I'm going to just stay here close to the camera so I can kind of stay with you in that process as you come into your seated position now. Come forward on the chair so you start to fire up these core strength. You start to come into better posture, more awareness, placing your feet in a certain way. I really encourage you to use the block to align that inner energy in toward the midline. I'm going to work a little bit with the Sushumna energy channel, which aligns with the spine. And it's a great source of stabilization. And the block just gives us a physical, almost contact to it, where we can squeeze the block and we feel our body just sort of contract in toward the center, and we can feel it in ourselves. We're aware of it as a felt experience, not just an idea. And honoring this transitional time, that you're coming into this yoga practice, you set aside the time for it, you put your stuff together so you can have what you need. And I just want to honor that you're transitioning now into this more, I like to say, sacred space, and that you are intentional. And intentional can sometimes be, at least in my definition and my understanding, kind of used synonymously with mindful, that you're more mindful about what you're doing. And it simmers down the mind chatter when we are intentional, and we come into the body. There's a simmering down, a quieting of the mind chatter, which is a benefit of this practice. It is what allows us to cultivate balance in a broad sense. So eyes are closed by now. I hope that you are with me on that. Eyes are closed by now. And we're coming into this transitional moment of breath awareness now. There's a breath technique often referred to as box breathing. Box breathing. And it simply is that you're taking a breath in, holding that breath, letting that breath exhale, holding the exhale. So there's like an equal amount of space drawing in, waiting, exhaling, and waiting. And it could be your own count. I'll throw out that you count 4. See if that works for you. If not, just change it so that you're inhaling for a count of 4. You wait for a count of 4 before you exhale to a count of 4. Wait before you begin the process again. So can you see the box of that? There's 4 parts and they're equal in length. So let's begin with that. Eyes closed now. Let's do the box breathing. Hands on your lap in any way that seems meaningful to you. Let the breath come through your body in the way too that it is most natural, feels easy, more easily accessed for you. Don't forget the weight. Very subtly, you'll start to notice perhaps your shoulders can relax. You can still be strong in your seat and still have relaxed shoulders. Stay mindful about the box breathing just a little while longer. And now you may have already noticed that it is no longer so much effort, that breath has sort of taken on its natural rhythm within you. You can trust that wherever it is for you, it's exactly right. As you now use this time to turn your palms up and set your intention for class, your particular intention for coming to this space today. The why. That's kind of the question that arises when we set our intention. Why? Why am I here? Why do I choose yoga? And then just gently, when you've come to some conclusion there, whether it's fuzzy or very, very clear, doesn't matter. And so it is. And so it is. And let me join you with block to the thighs, inner thighs, so that we can really draw in and be aware of that central channel This is kind of part of the mula bandha is the base of the Sushumna channel. And that is that energy that we work on when we strengthen our perineum. So drawing our thighs into the block is a way to right away acknowledge that in your body that you're relying on and stabilizing yourself with the Sushumna channel's base, which is mula bandha, right there at the very base of your pelvis. So let's begin with some shoulder rolls. Keep your mouth relaxed, no tension in your face, and see if you can find your breath as you're moving your shoulders. Just noticing how your breath is, whether you're breathing in and out of your nose, whether there seems to be a combination. Be curious about it. And be willing to follow your body's lead. From time to time, you might just find yourself breathing in a particular way and trusting that that's exactly what the body needs because that's what the body provided. Try to exaggerate this movement so you can really loosen up through those shoulder blades. And that takes care of that tension right in here too. A lot of that tension at the very top of the neck there, at the top of the shoulders where it connects with the neck. You're just really feeling that. That's the trapezius muscle, the big cape-like muscle. A couple more now. And then we'll change the direction of that. Keep your arms close to your body. Can you feel your engagement of core through the belly wall? Excellent. We're going to do some alternate nostril breathing, but actually I've kind of been in a phase where I, instead of just the nostril breathing, I'm breathing in through the whole side of the body. So let's just extend. Right arm up, reach up. Other arm alongside the frame of the chair if that's comfortable for you. Squeeze that block and feel your body lifting up by pressing your feet to the floor. And now I want you to breathe into that right side of the body. The whole right side of your body now is doing the breathing for you. Just do that with your imagination and your intention. We won't be here for long. Let your shoulder blades slide down the back. Feel the balance in your body. Right nostril breathing in and breathing out, and you're incorporating that to include the whole side of your body. You're balancing the whole side of your body. Remember, there's different energies associated with right side of the body and left side of the body. So this is just our way of very systematically balancing our energy body as well. Let's finish it up on this side. Exhale completely. Take a big sweeping action to come out of that. We'll switch sides. And situate yourself, shoulder blades back and down. Arm is right alongside your body, both reaching up and reaching down. And I will shift the breath now with your intention now. Switching now to breathe in and out, left side. And pay attention to how you're feeling. You know, like you're holding your head in a very neutral and proper position so your neck feels good. As we breathe entirely through this left side of the body. Just aware, maybe just on a subtle level, that this is an energy balance. One more through breath, full breath cycle. Just this side now. And when we come out, it's another backstroke all the way down. Let's do a couple of those where we go both arms coming up. Exhale all the way down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Arms are going to rest right alongside the chair's frame, and I want you to pull the arms back and let your chest come forward. So chest being chest bone, your rib cage coming forward. Feel the arch of your back body. Feel the neutrality about the way you're holding your head and neck. So we're into the spine. You can feel that arch of the back body. We're into the spine. So we just want to stretch into it to begin with before we begin our vinyasa. Let's just give it a big stretch, arching through the back body, letting your arms reach back. Remember, keep your arms and hands snug against the chair's frame. And when it's time to exhale next, let's just plant our hands on our lap, on our thighs there, and round through the back body. See if you can create a C-shaped curve or dome of your back. Let your head really drape down. Pull the belly way in. It's like you're trying to hollow out that belly wall. And feel that for another breath or two. Into the spine. And let's begin now our vinyasa as we move through the cow and the cat. The full breath in extends the spine. The full breath out rounds and rests the spine. Inhale, extend. Exhale, flex or rest. Finding your own rhythm. You don't need to keep up with me. Remember that. It's always about the rhythm of your breathing, because you might want to linger in one part of that. You might need a little different rhythm than what you're seeing me do. And it just reminds me to remind you to don't be fixed on the screen. There's so much of this, that you don't need to watch me do it. You're just finding your space and you're acknowledging your body movements. Let's hold it in the extended spine. So be upright, arms back, hold that. Can you reach those arms up, flipping your hands to face up? You've got your palms up and fingers are spread open wide. And you kind of approach that from that extended spine position. Can you feel that? Now press into your sit bones and feel how that starts to stabilize the lumbar curve of the back body. Take a look now from one hand to the other, turning your head so you can just check out, what's it feel like this morning? How is this movement? Kind of tight, there's some flexibility, what are you finding? So pay attention to this, move accordingly, work it out. Use this as an opportunity to sort of work out any tension or a little, resistance you're feeling in your body. See if you can kind of ease through that with your breath and your awareness. Holding the arms at shoulder height requires the strength of your whole body. So keep your feet pressing into the floor so that your legs are engaged. You feel your whole body helping you extend your arms. Good, let's flip the hands now so palms are facing forward. We're just gonna open and close now. Reach way back. And when you exhale, round through your back body. See if you can get even more rounding now that we're gonna bring our hands way out in front of us. So inhale, open, way back. Exhale, close, way forward with your hands coming together. Finding the open on the inhale and the closing on your exhale. Again, finding your rhythm of movement that just matches your breath, doesn't have to match me. Last time, round through the back body, hold it, palms together, just hold it, breathe in and breathe out. And then let's get rid of our block, move it underneath your chair and get into the motion of a forward fold now, laying yourself down onto your thighs. Stretch as far away from the seat. It's like you're trying to pull your body up and away so you can get your armpits to lay onto your kneecaps, and keep your eyes open now as you look down and underneath yourself. So you might have changed how far apart your feet are. Might be some subtle adjustments you've made in your seat. See what you can do to now hang forward like a rag doll, surrendering the weight of your head
as you breathe in and out. So I want you to really notice how your breath feels in your belly. Do your breath into the belly. Big belly breaths is going to be very good for our whole internal organs, but particularly, as you might have guessed, it's for the organs of digestion. And just start to notice. I mean, I'm here experiencing this release in the low back. See if you start to notice just the subtleties of what this fold feels like in your body. Surrendering the weight of the head. So your neck is like it's got a little vacation here. Doesn't have to hold up the weight of the head right now. One more full breath. Jump your hands one at a time to your thighs. Come up halfway. Our halfway lift squeezes elbows into the waistline, pressing the feet to the floor. Let's find that Mula Bandha now. See if you can do it without the block. And if you're thinking I would do it better if I had the block squeezing between your legs, your choice. As we begin to move through that strengthening and toning the perineum that we do. Inhale, we float the perineum up off the chair seat. Exhale, we soften and relax. And we keep that action going. Inhale, lift and hold. Exhale and release. Here's what I'm going to suggest you do. Do your box breathing here. Inhale, you're lifting, you're holding, and then you hold it for your wait period. And then you soften and relax. See if you can implement the box breathing into this strengthening and toning of the perineum. It'll give you a little more retention, a little more strength. And it really keeps you very focused on a very particular breath, a very particular rhythm of breath, and how it is connecting to your body. The half lift, I'm just talking away because I want you to stay with it for a few more breaths. It can be enhanced by deepening it. So your fold doesn't have to be, I've always come up to this particular level. That's how I do it. You can deepen it by deepening your fold where you're just maybe hovering above your thighs. And that requires more. It requires more of you to lift and hold. There's more engagement. All right, let's let go of the box breathing and just hold now, both breathing in and out as you lift the perineum up off the chair seat. And let's just let our arms come away from us like wings would do. Press your feet, and let those strong arms lift you all the way up. Palms come together overhead. Let's take a big inhale. Exhale, bow to your heart. Inhale up and exhale all the way down. Let's get into some joint movements now. So start with your shoulder joints. It's just up, down movements. Spine stays stable, head and neck stable. Moving through the shoulder joints, coming up and back and down and back. Next time arms reach up, let's start opening and closing the hands. Hands are up there in the air, opening, closing. Now get into the joints of your fingers, more so individual movements, not just opening and closing them all at the same time. See if you can move individually now. So you're into your finger joints. Maybe you're kind of strumming along like you're playing the piano. Individual movement of the fingers and joints. And then as we start to release our arms down alongside the body, make a soft fist of your hands and start to circle your wrist in various directions. So we're into the wrist joint. Find your breath. Let's scoop up our left leg. Interlace your hands behind your thigh. Scoop it up. Think ragdoll again. You're lifting up and holding that heavy leg so that you can circle around. And you're releasing any tension in your knee, perhaps, by just the heaviness, moving in a circular direction. But of course, you're also lubricating that knee joint.
Change the direction whenever it feels right to you. So changing the circular direction whenever you want. Make sure you do it at least once. You change the direction. And remember, be heavy with your, just think ragdoll, that you're trying to really surrender the weight of your leg and your arm and hands. Got it, got it. You know, you're holding yourself up. That's just fine with your arms and strength of your arms. And so that your knee can just be freed up to flow freely in this circular way to lubricate it. Let's switch to the other side. Take your time now and set it back up. Ragdoll this leg, heavy, heavy leg, and then start to feel that swinging movement, circular movement. Now, don't compromise the length of your spine. I want you to stay sitting up tall. Don't cave in. Change the direction of your circular movement whenever it feels right for you to do so. Lubricating the knee. Let's stay with this leg now. I want you to hug that leg into your chest and cross your ankle over your thigh so you're into the figure 4 position. Make sure your standing leg is well positioned so your foot and ankle are kind of right underneath your knee. You can feel the support of that. I start with that massaging action. It's just automatic for me. So trying to calm the nervous system by, attending to the resistance you might be experiencing. This movement of your knee and this lateral action here, that's not normal. I mean, in terms of your daily activities, for most people, this isn't all that something that they do regularly. So it might be some resistance in there, but it's a range of movement your knee absolutely has. And we want to cultivate that range. We want to make sure we preserve that range of movement in our knee. We're going to get into knee and hip by lifting up the shin. So I want you to get a good hold of your ankle and heel. And we're just moving now. So into that hip. But, some bending and straightening can be involved. So you can combine hip and knee movement here. Settle in so your mouth is relaxed. You don't get all tight somewhere else. And just feel movement, freedom of movement, circular. Maybe it's more linear for you. It doesn't matter. Just see if you can find lots of movement and be aware that this is in the service of the loosening up, the lubricating of joints. Now let's bring that back to center. Get a hold of your shin. And while we hug that thigh in toward the chest and belly, let's circle the foot. So we're really moving through the ankle specifically. And if you can get some toe movement in there, all the better. Sit up tall. Doesn't it work great that you hold on tight with your hands to your shin? It just allows you to pull yourself into a more upright position, right? So let's use that. If you're like me, as soon as you hug your knee into your chest, your foot starts moving automatically. It's become sort of a practice, right? Good. Now let's slip the hands underneath that thigh and just straighten it out. I want you to bend and straighten right here in front of you. Don't go to an angle. Let's just kind of keep our hip in this particular position, just straightening and bending. Real strong. Then we got to get to the other side. So we're going to hug that knee into the chest. Start to move your foot around. Make sure your standing leg is well positioned. And we're going to move now into that figure 4 over here. So start with your massaging. Deepening the breath, of course. And get creative. I'll bet you many of you have already, discovered these kinds of tricks, but I'm just going to call it out. How you can use your forearm, your elbow to kind of lean into that a little bit more depth, a little more depth. And we're going to get into that by just lifting the shin up, get a good hold of your foot and ankle and heel area. That's kind of where I go. And we're just moving around. Circular movements. So you're not only into your hip, but you're also working through the knee. Stay strong with your breath connection and feel your way through this. Let's come back to center, get a hold of the underside of your thigh, straighten out and bend the knee, straighten that leg and bend the knee. Keep your body very upright. Kind of think your mountain pose is still in force here. And let's get both feet to the floor. Let's take a wide angle now. Take a wider angle. Heels are in, toes are out. Let's get a hold of our block. Use the block on it, whatever level you want. I'm going to start with the high level for me and extending away from the chair, right out in front of me, right between my legs, into a forward fold. So try to work with how you're holding your spine, neck, head, and spine, in the way that just feels good and strong for you. While arms extend away from the body, away from the chair. Keep your bottom on the seat. Deepen the breath. And if the block is not necessary for you, that you can move your fingertips way out there, just skip the block. Skip it all together. Deepen the breath. Really pay attention to how you're managing the weight of your head. If you're hiking your head up so you can look at your hands, I bet you're going to feel a kink in the back of your neck. So tuck your chin towards your throat. Just extend those arms away. You don't need to look out there. Press your feet to the floor. Let's take another deep breath here. We're going to move to the side. So pick a side that you're going to wander away from center and just move to the side. Now you got to really work on keeping your pelvis down, because when we stretch over to the side, it's going to list. So you have to intervene to keep your pelvis balanced in the chair seat. Keep both sit bones stretching into the chair seat. Manage the weight of your head. Deepen the breath. No strain in the neck. We're not putting up with any of that. You make an adjustment if you're feeling a strain. If you haven't done so already, we need to go to the other side. So let's get there. Take care of that listing. Balance through the pelvis by really putting some effort into pressing down into that sit bone that kind of started pulling up and away. Tuck your chin in towards your throat. Give you a little support for that neck as it's managing this heavy head. Deepen the breath. Let's come back to center. Leave the block where it is. One hand at a time comes to your thighs. We're going to come up halfway. Squeeze those elbows into the waist. Press your feet to the floor and spread your wings. Let's spread those wings with palms facing downward, way behind us. Not just out to the side, but really behind us. And so we feel some movement in the shoulder blades. Now get into the legs. Feel your legs. Press your feet and lift yourself all the way up, all the way up. Palms come together. Let's take an inhale together here. Exhale, bow into the heart. Inhale up and exhale all the way down. Hands are coming to the shoulders now. We've just created our wings. We might give a circle or two here, change the direction, just a circle or two, loosen them up. And I want you to go well past the side of your thighs. Don't land on your top of your knee or top of your thigh. Go as far down as your body allows you. And turn your head to match so that your ear is kind of stretching down the same direction. This is, of course, is the abdominal walls. That is the side body, those oblique muscles. So be particular about how you're moving your head here. Might have to slow it down a little bit. Find your breath, inhaling, exhaling mindfully. One more on each side, one dip on each side. And then we're going to bring our feet a little closer together and bring our elbows in. So this is the movement. Actually, let's bring our legs all the way together. Go ahead and bring them together like a mermaid leg. Just kind of thought of that here. Let's bring our mermaid leg into play. And so when we open here, elbows are drawing back. Close it by bringing elbows together and down to those joined together legs. So let's inhale and exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Pull the belly in. Make sure your feet are positioned well. They're not sloppy down there. You just want to keep them right together. Inhale, open. Exhale, close and pull the belly in. Open, close, belly pulls in. Stay with it. Excellent. Let's come back up and extend those arms out at shoulder height into the T position. Open up your palms, stretch your fingers apart. Squeeze those legs together now. Just feel how that is in your body as you're contracting in toward that central channel. Inhale with me, palms up, look up if you can. Exhale, bow into your own heart. Inhale up and exhale all the way around. Let's grab that block and put it on your left side here and lean into it a little bit. So your ears facing, you're just trying to find that alignment, turning your head in a neutral way, ears facing the hand on the block. And I have to fiddle around with it to make sure it's placed right. So you might have to do the same. Here's what we're going for right here. Let's try that mermaid leg. Let's bring our feet together, see how that goes. I think it's a lot more challenging. See if you can square those hips. Boy, it's really pulling, isn't it? It really pulls to list off that side. Just make some effort to put it back there. Might not be perfect, might be as settled as it was before. I don't think there's any possibility it could be, but that you're efforting in that direction. Really listen to your neck now. Really listen to what you need to do to hold this shape and take really good care of your neck and spine here. Squeeze your legs. And when you come up, grab hold of the block, come all the way up with it. We'll just drop the block behind the back of the head as we just kind of reset now. Let the body reset from that big bend. And then let's set up the other side. Might be a little different. Turning your head now so your ear is facing the hand on the block. And maybe pull back. I wish I'd have thought of that on the first round. Pull back that upper shoulder and then reach up. That's a better way. Squeeze those thighs together. Now reach up, reach up. Deepen the breath. Square your hips. It's just an efforting you're making. It's the efforting. You're not going to balance them perfectly, but you're making that attempt. And again, when we come up, lift up, take the block with you all the way up, block between your hands. We'll just drop it. Keep your elbows squeezing in towards your head. Good. And I'm going to tuck the block underneath the chair and come back to this neutral position with wide open legs. So I want you to circle around. Let's loosen that up. Find the fluid nature in our body, circling around and changing the direction of that. Excellent. To get out of the chair, let's lean back into the backrest and get your feet up off the floor, and then pop your bottom right up off the chair seat. Do that a few rounds. You notice my fancy yoga socks. It's got the orange rubbery surface so I don't slide. And pop up and hold that now. Let's get our feet parallel to each other, not heels in and toes out, but parallel the feet so that they feel in line with your hips, their hips distance apart. And we're creating that little chair squat so you feel your body weight into your thighs. The hands are really pressing into the thighs so you feel like you've created a bracket of support. One arm at a time perhaps reaches up. Steady with your breath. Let's come all the way up, palms come together overhead. Inhale with me. Exhale, heart. Inhale up. Exhale all the way around and come back to your chair squat. Hands at the thighs, and we've got our body weight into our thighs as we're kind of pulling body weight back, away from the heels, though you don't want to kind of lose touch with the surface of your entire foot. See if you can find that balance. Palms together at the heart. Let's get it a little more challenging. Palms come together so we no longer have our arms to help hold us up. We're all about the thighs. One more full breath. And then take a twist. Bring elbow to the opposite side. Now you can do this from the chair. So if you need a little more assistance, come right back into your chair and do your twist there. Your choice. Let's come back to center, hold it, and then switch to the other elbow to the other thigh so we're twisting in the other direction. One more full breath. Come back to center, hands come back to the thigh. Let's come up slowly all the way up to standing. Let's find our mountain pose. I'm going to encourage you to use your block here. Get the hold of the block and put it between your thighs. Find that mountain pose. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. And I want you to breathe the box breath. Come right back into this tall, strong mountain pose that you're so familiar with. And introduce your whole body to the box breath. That is, you're going to inhale for, let's say, a count of 4. You hold and wait for a count of 4 before you exhale out to that same count. And you wait before you start the process again and inhale in. So just find that box of equal inhale, exhale, joined together by an equal space of waiting, or just holding. Stabilize your low back. And finish up. Let's get palms together, up and overhead. Take your right hand and grab hold of your left wrist. And then bend to the side. Squeeze the block so you're really utilizing your strength of Mula Bandha. And come back up and switch hands. Hand grabs hold of wrist and up and over the head. See if you can extend your arms with as little bend in the elbow as you can. And notice how your arms and ears are in relationship there. Let's do it again on each side. Change hands. Hand grabs wrist. We pull over top. Surrender more body weight. Up we go. And off to the side. Beautiful. When we come out, it's a big backstroke. We're going to loosen up those shoulders one more time, lifting up and exhaling all the way down. Good. Let's move the block to the side now. We'll use the chair for some stepping action here. So you want to place the chair in such a way that you've got the side or the back of the chair available for support. You may or might not use it. We might all kind of have our own way of doing that. The chair is here for support, which is awesome. So I want you to start by taking a step forward. Standing leg is always near the chair. moving leg is away from the chair, just to give you that reminder. That's how I'm approaching this. So either using the chair or not, take a step forward and back. Take a step forward where you leave the back, you're lifting the back heel. So you come off the ground, forward and back, forward and back. Just like that. Keep your gaze out. Don't look at your feet. You're just simply taking a step forward and back. Yours might be a little different. Maybe you're just kind of got a little different rhythm than I'm created here. Next time you take that step forward, hold that step. And again, this might be the time where you need the chair. And I want you to square your hips and bend into the front knee. I'm going to do it from the side view just so you're clear on what's happening. But I want you to stay just where you are with the chair. So we've got a bent knee forward. Back heel is down. See if you can do it with back heel down. And palms are going to come together at the heart. So steady now. Steady yourself where you feel balanced and squared with hips and shoulders. And the efforting would be deepening into more bend. So you're going to feel more of a stretch in the back leg into that psoas. And then let's find the proud warrior. Palms are lifted up, facing each other. Put your mitten hands on. Let's see if I can get any kind of view of that, where your hands are facing each other. And the more you pull back, you'll create a back bend for yourself. That's a nice feeling. And then let's come out of that. Bring yourself stepping forward, just shake your legs a little bit. But let's move on because we want to do the side step as well. So you'll just step out and come back. Keep your gaze out. Don't look at your legs. It's a way of balancing in motion. I think that's really useful for us, a little more useful than just standing on one leg, that we can balance our body while it's in motion. So just finding a little rhythm here of stepping out and coming back. Last time, step out. Now rotate your foot so the toes pointing away from the chair and bend into that leg. This is our warrior two position. So arms are extended at shoulder height. Let's flip the hands so palms are up. And then I want you to straight leg that warrior and tilt yourself into a little triangle here. Straight legs. Don't have to go very deep. You can bring your hand behind your thigh. You could, if this is a familiar pose, maybe you grab your block and that's where you reach for with your hand. Bend into that knee. And let's bring ourselves back to center. Shake that out. Our backward movement is a little curtsy. So I want to sweep your foot behind you. Come cross it behind you. I'm keeping the heel up. I'm just kind of come on to the toes and the balls of the foot. Stepping back into a little curtsy. Let's hold it now. Step back, bend your knees, keep your thighs drawn together. See if you can do it without the use of the chair for support, or that you just try to see a little bit at a time. A little curtsy. Deepen the breath. Find a drishti. You're going to stare at something that's going to give you a real good source of stability. Let's come down with the arms and bring our legs back together and shake that out. To relocate your chair so we can do the same thing on the other side. Now, you might need a drink of water. You might need a little pause here. So you decide what you need to do. And join us when you can. And that's the stepping forward and back, stepping forward and back. So we're just keeping the standing leg near the chair and finding a rhythm of movement where we can look out, not look down at our feet or look down at the ground, but we're looking out and away as we just feel our body in motion, taking a step forward and back. Next step forward comes into our warrior one. So we're going to bend into that front knee. Keep your body upright. Sometimes there's a temptation to kind of lean toward that bent knee, but I want you to bring your upper body very upright. get it upright. And then bring your hands together. Maybe that's a good steadying. Find your drishti. And we come into the proud warrior, palms are facing each other. The more you pull back, the more of a back bend you'll create, so you can create what you want. Stabilize your legs, steady. Steady your breath. Steady the breath. Bringing your hands back. We're going to get hold of the chair perhaps. Shake that out. Catch up with your breath. Side step is next. So as you're stepping away from the chair, coming away, look out. Last time. And now we're going to step out and hold it, rotating your foot to point away from the chair and bending into that knee. Square your shoulders with your hips. Warrior two position, palms face up. Take a breath here. And then as you flip your hands to face forward, straighten out that front knee and come into that triangle pose now. Just as simple. You don't want to tether that inner thigh. So if you took your step is so big that, man, that's tight in there, I want you to either shorten the step or definitely bend the knee so that you're not just creating this tethering effect. Beautiful. Bring yourself all the way up and we'll get feet together. Shake that out a bit. Last step is our back step. So that's the little curtsy. So I just want you to step back. Step back. Back and around. You're coming to the other side of you. And step back and hold it. So feet flat, or I like to keep the heel up on that back foot right now. That's feeling good for me. So just see what feels right for you, where you can hold it. And then just determining whether or not you're going to have to use the chair for support or that you can do something with your arms for a little more balance. A little more balance challenge, I should say. Let's deepen the breath. Beautiful. Let's come all the way down with the arms. Get our feet back together and shake those legs out. All right. It is time to come back to the chair now. It is time to come into shavasana. So I want you to scoot yourself well into the chair so you have easy access to the backrest. And you begin your transition now. Remember, we're really going to honor these transitional moments where we're settling down. Maybe there's a movement in your body that you still need. We didn't do a lot of twisting. So what if your body is just thinking, well, I got to get a twist in here. I'm going to do some of that before I settle into my relaxation time. So I want you to really be your own teacher and listen to the body and see what you might need. And then honoring this transition, because this is the time where it's so easy to slip away. Mentally, you go right back to the mind chatter. It happens. So I really want you to recognize that, honor the fact that you've devoted this time for yourself. This is your act of self-compassion. This is our act of Ahimsa. When we do no harm to ourselves, it has to start there. It has to start there. Our ability to bring loving kindness to those around us, it has to start with ourselves. So just listen to your body. Find the breath smoothing itself out. Relax your shoulders. Soften the belly. I'm going to step off camera. I want you to stay with your meditation time now. Big breaths in and out. I'm going to invite you to introduce a meditation, a specific guided meditation of creating self-compassion. So as you rest these last few minutes, as you draw in your inhale, I want you to draw with that a sense of kindness. And as you exhale, you let that kindness permeate your body, especially your heart. And you stay with that, like drawing in kindness and letting it permeate your body on the exhale. So giving yourself this gift of kindness. Let it permeate your body. Let it permeate your heart. The heart has a way of expanding that. And then do the same thing with the quality of love, pure love, unconditional love. Inhale that. And as you exhale, let it permeate your body. Let it be expanded by your heart. Unconditional love coming in and permeating the body, being expanded by your heart. And I want you to inhale forgiveness, the quality of forgiveness. And as you exhale, let that permeate your body and be expanded in your heart. Maybe that will resonate as self-forgiveness. I'll bet that is true for many, many of us. But depending on what's going on in your life, it might come to you differently, that there's a particular matter, person, issue that needs your loving forgiveness and you have not been able to access that. So stay with that. Inhale, forgiveness. Exhale, let it permeate your body and let it be expanded by your heart. This is all in keeping with Ahimsa, the call of nonviolence, the call of do no harm to self, to others, to our environment. The list goes on. But it always starts with the self. Stay now in this awareness of self-compassion. Be with your own love, your self-forgiveness, and the kindness within you. Be with that. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose And exhale out of your mouth with the sound of a sigh. Ah. Start to introduce movement back into your body. Maybe you get your feet back to the floor. If you've elevated your feet and legs, just find yourself back with feet to the floor, and that your back body is once again in right alignment. Let's layer our hands, our palms layered on our heart center now. And close out today's class. Let's do that box breathing. Just hold yourself closely, hands to the heart now, and just a few more mindful breaths, creating that box breath. So it's just this very balanced, equalized way of transitioning out of our class now, out of our practice. Beautiful. Palms come together at the heart. Let's sync up our breath, inhaling as we lift up. Exhale as we bow into our heart space. Inhale up and exhale. Let's share this beautiful, loving, kind energy of Ahimsa all through our community. Palms once again come to the heart. We bow to ourselves and we bow to one another. Namaste, my friends. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Julie.
Yes, thank you.